Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all. My husband scheduled a Zoom meeting for his job at the same time as this one. So I have been banished to the floor in the corner, like in the back of the house. So that's what's going on. I'm literally sitting Indian style on the floor, but we'll make it happen. So welcome to CHM092. My name is Candace Henderson. I'll be your instructor for the next 16 weeks. So this is an asynchronous class, which means that we are meeting via Zoom, but you are responsible to be here during lectures, okay? Now, if you look at the schedule, the lab portion, this is like the lab time, okay? So Mondays from 8 to 7:50, where am I? 6 to 7:50 are like the quote unquote lab times. And then Wednesdays are 6 to 8 something, 8:40. And that's the lecture time. We will in the future not be formally meeting on Mondays. Okay, so just know that as far as your schedule is concerned, your Monday evening will open up. That doesn't mean that you don't have a lab. You do still have labs, but they're going to be done on your own time. And I will show you in this first intro here where everything is and how that works. But just know that that's going to be sort of completed in your own time, just making sure it's turned in by the due date. Now, Wednesday will be the actual lecture, and I do want you to be on Zoom. Okay, now I know that there'll be stuff that happens, and so I will post these recordings on my YouTube channel. I'm not responsible for any random videos that pop up after my video, but yeah, that's another way that you can access it. Or if we lecture on something and you're like, you were moving too fast or I didn't get it, you can always go back and review those. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I just want you to get comfortable with the Moodle page and the syllabus. So here is our Moodle page. It's going to be Fundamentals of Chemistry, Chem 092, and then your sub description is OT1, which means that you're asynchronous or a live Zoom class. My email is there. The main groups here correlate to the main groups here. So you can see it says start here, welcome, Chem 092. That's their tests and final exam. So this is a fast way to, like, if you're running late for the Zoom meeting, you can click there and log in. So the syllabus is the second thing on here. It's really, really important. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. The first part of it is a lot of just sort of housekeeping that is going to be similar for most of your classes at AD Tech. You'll kind of see this repetitive format so that you guys feel comfortable when you see a syllabus. The end of this is really probably what you'll end up wanting to print out. So let's just keep that there for right now. The other thing I want to mention, so we're going to go over the syllabus, but I need you to go ahead and look at the syllabus on your own as well. Read through it and just make sure you're comfortable with everything, what the due dates are, what the assignments are, because there's a couple different things coming from a couple different directions. And then you need to verify that you've read the syllabus by Sunday evening. Sunday evening tends to be your due date time, Sunday at midnight. Doesn't mean you have to wait until Sunday at 10 o'clock to do all the assignments, but that's the final due date. So make sure you get this syllabus verified by then. If you do it before then, that's great as well. There's a small video where you can meet me. You're kind of already meeting me. Here's a link to the online tutoring, which is an awesome resource that is included in your tuition. So use it. If you're having trouble with chemistry, if you're struggling, the people in the tutoring lab are awesome. I've worked in the tutoring lab before. I've worked with a lot of the tutors and they're great. File here for a periodic table and formula sheet. This is the periodic table and formula sheet I would give you guys in a live class. So you may want to print that out and just have that handy. If you have your own periodic chart formula sheet, you can use that as well. You definitely want to have access to a periodic chart though, okay? And if you don't have a printer and you can't figure out how to get a periodic chart, you can always come visit me during my office hours and I'll give you one. So the next section here are chapter tests and the final exam. You'll see test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. All of these have a specific range that you can take them in. So the first 3 fall on a Sunday to a Monday. The 4th test I highlighted, it falls on a Wednesday to a Thursday because I want you to get the test done so that we can use the Sunday, Monday following that for the final exam. That's why that's happening. So it's a 36-hour period. You have an hour and a half to do the exam. You can start it whenever you want, but you have to finish it within a single hour and a half. So if you're going to sit down to do it, take it all. It's not like you can kind of piecemeal it together over the 36 hours. You're allowed to use your notes. You're allowed to use your text, formula sheets. You're not allowed to use the internet. So those will be multiple choice. The test will not open before the given date. So this first test is coming up Sunday, February 6th to February 7th. So just under a month from now, will not open before February 6th. If you have like a weird thing going on where you're not going to be able to take it during that time period, you can take it earlier and just let me know and I can override it so that you can get in there. All right. The next thing that we bump up against is our online homework. This is through a secondary software system site called Mastering Chemistry. So it's associated with your textbook, your Pearson textbook. If you've already bought a textbook brand new, you should have an access code that allows you to get onto this website. It'll be on the inside cover or on the back cover or something. And that code lets you log into their site and do your homework. If you don't have that access code, you need to get the access code. You can get it at the bookstore, or you can buy an online access code right through their website. If you haven't gotten the text either, you can buy the access code linked up with an online text if you want to do that, if you don't want a physical copy of the text. If you don't want to get the text at all, don't tell me. But yes, there are people who have taken this class who haven't formally used a textbook. Okay. I test off of my lectures. I don't test off of like random things that are in the text. So just know that. But the textbook is a really nice resource. So when you click on this link, it's going to lead you to this Pearson website. And you will register now, need access, start here, you're a student. I'm not going to walk you through that. The details of how to do that are actually in the syllabus, and I'll show you that in a second when we move through the syllabus. But it will prompt you to include an access code. If you don't have the access code, it'll let you buy one. When you sign in here, so it'll prompt you to register for the class, and then it'll just sort of pop up. Which one are you guys? You guys are this one here. So you will need to enter a code because there's so many chemistry sections across the country / world that are using this website. You want to make sure that you use our course code Henderson 09602. It's there. It's also in the textbook. Where am I? In the syllabus. It's also in the syllabus. So you'll plug that in, and then it'll bring you to this. I want you guys to try and log in to Mastering Chemistry in the next day or so. Maybe if you could, possibly before Wednesday's lecture, so that if you're having issues, you can talk to me about it before the weekend comes along. If I click on the calendar here, it has all of the assignments laid out for you in a visual manner. All the assignments are open. So if you want to finish all of them in the first week, you can, or just, work week by week. Some weeks you may not have an assignment, and that's okay. Just trust the system, trust the syllabus. We don't go in order on the text as well. We kind of hop around just a little bit in the middle. So again, trust the syllabus and the ordering that I've chosen for the text. So your first assignment will be due, we can see here, Sunday, 1/16 at 11:59 p.m. So just before midnight. So get on there and get that done. Mastering chemistry is always a thorn in students' butts, I feel like, because it's demanding. It takes a little while. It takes a little while to get used to the software, and the problems are hard. So feel free to use all the resources you have, text, online, and the tutoring lab. I have no problem with you guys doing your homework in the tutoring lab or having questions for the online tutoring. No problem with that at all. So with that being said, you've got to do the mastering chemistry, but I offer a very, very substantial curve on it. So you may spend 2 hours for each assignment and still get a 65% on the homework because it's hard. That's okay. You'll end up with a 95 or 100% on the homework, as long as I see that you've put in adequate time. If I see at the end of the semester that you've had a grand total of 24 minutes on all the assignments across the whole semester, I'm going to give you the grade that shows up on there. Okay. So, put the work in and it won't hurt your grade. Underneath that, we have Zoom meetings and lectures. So the login is there as well for Zoom. You have it in the email. It'll always be this same link if you want to save it somewhere. The lecture videos will be on my YouTube channel, so you can click on there. And we don't have anything up yet, so I haven't gotten a playlist together, but I'll link this to our specific playlist for our section so that you can watch the videos as needed. Up after that is lab resources and lab submissions. So this right now is technically our lab time, and you guys are supposed to be working on, let's see, pull up our syllabus, go to the very end. Don't want to say something that isn't true. No, so this one, we're just doing intro to the course. Yeah, so we're good. You actually don't have a lab due this week, and you don't have a lab due next week because it's Martin Luther King Day. So I'm giving you guys that time off. I've kept you guys really close, sort of parallel with my live in-person class. So we'll kind of honor whatever they're doing. So the first experiment that you are going to conduct is measurements, which is due on 131. How do you do an experiment when you are in your living room? Well, I don't expect you to get any sort of equipment or anything like that. We're going to run the labs in a dry lab fashion. So if you go to the lab resources and lab submissions section, at the very top, it says all lab procedures and data here. So you click on that link and it's going to bring you to a Drive document that has all of these hyperlinks, and those will be used to explain the lab and run the experimental portion for you all. So this first measurements lab, and if you guys want to start the measurements lab early, I mean, it's not going to be due for, like 2 weeks, but if you want to go at it, go for it. This is the data, and these are some notes that go along with it. You'll want to watch these again in your own time. If you want to do it on Mondays, do it on Mondays. If there's another time that works better for you, do it then. So you will need a copy of the lab manual, and I left my lab manual in my office. The lab manual you get at the bookstore. It is a paper copy. It's like $5. We print it in-house, so it's not gonna break the bank. But you need that lab manual because that is what you are actually going to be filling in. I think what confuses people the most is they'll come here and they'll see experiment 1 and they'll want to click on it and then have things to type in through there. That's not how this works. These are all going to be uploaded files. So you will work on the experiment in your physical lab manual, just like you would in a class. You're going to write your answers down, write your name down, everything. You're going to take a picture of it, or you're going to scan it, and then you're going to upload it onto Moodle. Okay, there is a link here that says how to submit a lab online. This gives you sort of a more detailed version. It's pretty no-brainer. I mean, you're going to click on this link and it's going to give you the option to upload files. So you upload them from there. How you know it's an upload? Do you see the little hand with the little paper? You're giving me the lab. Okay, every week you'll give me the lab. The due dates for these things are in multiple places. I try to put the due dates in as many places as possible. So you can see here the due dates for these first ones. The first one is 131, and then after that, they'll be due weekly on Sunday. So the first one, you've got a couple weeks to play around with it. Along with your lab resources in your lab section are these weekly lab quizzes. These directly correlate to the lab you're working on. So for instance, experiment 1 is the measurements lab that's due on 131. Well, the quiz associated with measurements is also due on, I don't know why it's saying 130. I need to shift that date. Those should be on the same date. It'll be Sunday. So let's see, this is 2/7 and this is 2/6. I think my brain farted and put all these due on Monday. Why did I do that? I think I gave you extra time. I think that's what it is. I gave you a little extra time to turn your lab in so you could turn it in on Monday night. So there you go. We'll leave it. You get an extra little bit. I'd still try and get it on Sunday, but I think what I was going for was then you could ask me questions if you needed to during the official lab period. So perform the quizzes that go along with it. Again, there are the due dates there. It's just going to be a series of like 10 questions that have to do with whatever the lab is that you're working on. The lab information is important. The lab portion of the course is important, but the tests are not going to cover things that are on the labs that haven't been covered in lecture. Okay, so the lab and the lecture are together, but not. Now there will be some things in the labs that you're like, oh my gosh, we went over this in lecture. This is like the same thing that is applicable, but I'm not going to have you guys like measure out things and do calculations like that. Underneath the quizzes is the PowerPoints that I will be using just sort of to guide us through our lecture. And then I come up with and use a bunch of example problems while we're lecturing, because a lot of what we're going to do is math. Okay, a lot of what we're going to do is math. Sorry. There are objectives here for the tests. So kind of give yourself a little bit of guidance when studying for the exams. There's some additional notes and practice problems. And then I have some worksheets in here. These additional worksheet practice problems, none of those get turned in for like credit. Right, they're just to use to practice the ideas, because a lot of times the lecture slides only have like one example, and I think we need 2 to 3 examples for some of the concepts to get it. That is all laid out chapter by chapter. You can see we go chapter 5 and then we jump to 9 and 10 and then we go back to 6. So again, trust the flow of that. That's everything that's in the Moodle page. From there, I'm going to pull up the syllabus, try and not make it too redundant, what we've already talked about, but let's see. All right, the Zoom lecture is there for you guys as well. Really, our big day is going to be Wednesday, okay? Monday, if you send me an email, I can definitely be available for you. There are other times I can be available as well. I'm pretty flexible. I do have formal office hours on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Those are in-person office hours, or they can be Zoom office hours. But you guys are taking a night class, so I'm assuming some of you work during the day. So if those don't work for you, that's fine. Just we can set something else up. You just got to let me know. One thing to note that the vice president had said was like, make sure to specify to students what office hours are, because I think sometimes students hear the word office hours and they think, oh, it's my teacher doing office stuff, and like I don't want to disrupt them. No, office hours are specific times designated for me to help students with their work. Okay, that's why I'm there. I am required to have a minimum of 5 office hours a week. So I sit there and I wait for people to reach out to me. All right, so reach out. If that doesn't work for you though, we can always set something else up. You do need to have access to some sort of software that can create a PDF file. Cam Scanner is one that's out there. There are a couple other ones. You can get something on your cell phone. I think the easiest thing is to get an app on your cell phone. That's what a lot of people do. And then they just take a picture with their cell phone and then convert it to a PDF and submit it. There's my email. My office is 309 in Sycamore if you want to see me in person. My preferred communication is always going to be my AV Tech email. And I really want you guys to be emailing me from your AV Tech email as well. I know we've got personal emails and stuff, and sometimes it happens that you send something from a personal email, but we just, as a university, we get so many security breaches that I have to look at the email top to bottom to make sure it's even something I should be opening or reading. And so when it comes from outside of our little family of emails, it's more work. So if you can do it from AV Tech, that would be great. I'll get back to you within 24 hours, except for the weekend. Sometimes that can be like 36 hours if you send something at like on Friday at like 9 p.m. I might not get back to you till Sunday. If you don't hear from me for 3 days, this says to contact the chair of my department. Before you do that, send me a second email. Or send me something in the thread that bumps it up to the top of my inbox. Okay. And then after that, reach out to my boss, but I'm usually pretty good about getting back on emails. I'm not going to go through all this stuff. This is like course goals and, we're learning to critical think. This is something you can read. Grade policy. I grade your assignments on a weekly basis. You should have labs back to you within a week. On occasion, it can stretch to 2 weeks just because I have 5 lab sections this semester, so I have a lot of labs to grade. But with that being said, I have 5 lab sections, so I really want to stay on top of it this semester. But it shouldn't ever be more than 2 weeks. Makeup work, late work. I really can't stand late work. I just turn stuff in on time. There is late penalties if you turn things in late, so 10% every day until I grade it. And once I grade it, you can't turn it back in. So if I grade it that day, you've lost the opportunity. So just turn the stuff in when it's due. There are no makeup tests and or quizzes. Those have to be done on their due date. So look through the syllabus at the bottom where the due dates are and like write those test dates in a Sharpie on your mirror or something so that you remember that you have to take those tests. Now, if there's some sort of extenuating circumstance or you're going to be like, you have a pre-planned family reunion or something, you have to let me know before the exam, okay? Not like after the exam. When I get people the next day saying, oh, I totally missed the test. Well, you're going to get a 0 on it. And I don't want to have to give you a 0. Now, if you do get a 0, it's okay for one exam because we do have a grade replacement policy, and I'll show you guys that in a second. Inclement weather. Our class is going to follow the inclement weather. I know it's kind of weird, but when we have bad weather, internet goes out. When we have bad weather and students can't get to campus, some students use internet for their synchronous classes like this. They can't get to campus and use the internet, they can't be in class. So we will follow whatever happens with that. So if there's a snow day, we don't meet. I've got a lot of pre-recorded videos and stuff from prior semesters that I can email to you so we don't fall behind. As far as the evaluation criteria is concerned, pretty standard. We follow a 10-point system. So an A is a 90 to 100, B is 80 to 89. To pass the class, you need to get a 70 or above. I feel like so often as students, you end up falling like right in between an 89 and a 90, or right in between a 69 and a 70. If you're here, if you're in lecture, if you're attentive, you're asking questions, you're communicative, that can go a long way if you're sitting on the border. Okay, so just know towards the end of the semester, you're sitting at a 78.5. That should round up to a 79. But if you've turned everything in and you've been a good student, I can find points. Okay. As far as the layout for your grades, lecture tests, there's 4 of them, and they're worth a combined total of 45%. And final exam is worth 15%. So those 2 things are worth 60% of your grade. It's just kind of how it is. That's how we assess that the information is through tests and exams. There's a grade replacement policy. So out of your 4 exams, let's say you bomb one of them, or you don't take it and you get a 0. The grade replacement policy means that as long as you score higher on the final than that lowest test grade, the final will swap it out. So let's say you got an A, an A, an A, and an F. And then on the final, you got a B. The B will take over the spot for the F. Okay. And that grade also holds the spot for the final. So the final has a little bit more weight. Now that won't work in a negative way. So if you got an A on every test and you got a C on the final, I'm not going to take one of your A's away and give you a C. All right. It's just there to help you. The lab section is worth 25% of your grade. So turn these labs in, do the quizzes. And I'm pretty generous when it comes to the labs. If you're turning them in completed and your answers make sense in the English language and they refer to chemistry in some capacity, I give you some of the points, right? It's great if they could be correct answers, but as long as you're trying, I will give you the benefit of the doubt with that. And then that last section, that 15%, oh, that pesky mastering chemistry. I don't know who's going to be the first student to be like, oh my God, mastering chemistry is killer, but it will come up. I know. And it's tough. It is. So, do the best you can. So make sure you get that syllabus verification due by Sunday. That is how I'm going to take attendance for us during the census period, so that we can all get credit and you guys can get credit. So for your financial aid and things like that. Professionalism, be responsible, and mature. Sometimes Zoom can get a little precarious. Okay. So if you're drinking a beer, just go off camera to sip it. I've had students just fully drinking beers in lecture. These are recorded. So, if you don't have pants on, just watch out for the viewfinder, and keep your mute on. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself, but usually putting stuff in the chat is the best way to go. All right, so yeah, if you can use your camera, it's helpful for me. If you see, hello, there's the camera, and I kind of look over to the right here because I'm looking at people's faces. Okay. And so when I'm working a problem or trying to do some lecture, I can see yes, I'm getting this. No, I have no idea. And it's helpful. Okay. Now I know that we don't always want to have the Zoom on, or we got to sneak out to go to the bathroom, or the Zoom camera on. I'm going to sneak out to go to the bathroom, something like that. That's fine. But if you can't have the camera on, it's helpful. Stay on topic. No disrespect or hate speech. I think that doesn't usually happen. I have had some things get political, and we're just going to not do politics. I think it's best for us all. So we'll leave that off of anything related to chemistry. Right. There will be a course evaluation sometime, roughly 75% through the course. Those are really helpful. So you can just check that out and, rate me how I'm doing, what I could improve on. It's useful. I'll send you guys a reminder or let you guys know when those are out. Okay. Here, this online homework part of the syllabus, and this is why I want you to go through the syllabus on your own, just so that you can see where everything is. But this gives you a step-by-step on how to register for mastering chemistry. Okay, so I know that I'm throwing a lot at you right now. This sort of dumbs down at least the homework part. It goes, go to this website, plug this in, enter our code, plug your name in a very specific way, and it will lead you to where you need to go. On course advice, I think, this is bolded here. It says the most important rule of studying chemistry is to study as you go. And this is so true. Chemistry is not like your psych class where you can cram the night before for 3 hours and you end up with a B+ or an A. You really want these concepts layer on top of each other. So if you don't have the foundation, it kind of starts to crumble. So you really want to study This week, we're going to be doing scientific notation and significant figures. You want to get that stuff down so that next week you're not stressing about, oh, what's this, like, what's a significant figure? And then you can build a nice base. Here it says, if you lack the background or the mathematical skill to handle the course, you're unlikely to gather the skill as you try to absorb the chemical concepts. So you do need to have some basic math skills. Multiplication, division, exponent, variable isolation, which sounds scarier than it is. It's having an equation and solving for one of the variables, right? So moving things around. If it's addition on one side, you have to subtract it to move it to the other. I will go over an example or two of variable isolation, but if you're still struggling with that, the tutoring lab is going to be a good resource for you. Here are some important dates. So, you know, moving forward, we're not formally meeting on Mondays anyway, but we don't have class Monday or lab next week because of Martin Luther King. We will also follow and honor spring break too, which is April 18th, which feels so late because the semester is done on the 10th. It's like we're come back for 2 weeks. So what is the most important thing of the syllabus? What is everybody always looking for? The due dates. All right, so this here, and then this down here. You might want to print this out or, you know, make a PDF out of it and put it as your background. The way that it's set up is week by week. Okay, so this is week 1, week 2, week 3. This is the Monday that we start. We have our lecture schedule. So this is what we'll be covering in lecture. So this week on Wednesday, we're going to be covering chapter 2. You know, this is subject to change if something happens, but I usually am pretty good at staying on point with these. These correlate to the chapters in your text. So when we're doing chapter 2, measurements and problem solving, you'd want to read chapter 2 in your text. If you don't read chapter 2, I won't know, okay? But that's going to be what it correlates to. The lab schedule, again, this is going to be asynchronous. So this is going to be sort of follow at your own accord. Intro to the course is what we're doing right now. Next week, we're not meeting for lab. And then we start the experiments and you've got the due dates there. So just turn them in accordingly. Over here in the final column where assignments are, that tells you, you know, every week what you need to be turning in outside of your lab section. So you're mastering chemistries and then also your quizzes. So make sure you're getting those quizzes done. The first week or two, I know it's going to be like a little weird, like this teacher has this stuff here and this teacher has this stuff here, and it's all kind of confusing. So I have a little bit of patience and a little grace in the first week or two with late assignments if you're having trouble downloading or figuring it out. But once we get into like the 3rd, 4th week, you got to be turning that stuff in, know how to be turning it in, okay? Test dates are going to be written under the lecture schedule portion, because if we were in an in-person class, I would have you take them during the lecture. You're not going to be taking the tests during our lecture period though. So your first test is going to be that February 6th through February 7th, covers chapter 2, 3, and 4. Chapter 1, you will do the homework for chapter 1. Chapter 1 is like the intro to every textbook, where it's like, chemistry is all around us. You know, look at the atoms, they're everywhere. So that's just sort of getting used to mastering chemistry. But I'm not really going to test you on information from chapter 1. So first test will be 2, 3, and 4. Second test will be 5, 7, and 9. And they really are 3 chapters each, all of them. You can see spring breaks in there. You can see the final exam and the 4th test are kind of butted up against each other. So you'll take that 4th exam, and then just a couple of days later, you'll take the final exam. So yes, this is subject to change. It probably won't change unless something nutso happens. Okay, I know that was like so much. I will end up putting this video on the YouTube channel so you can rewatch any of my ramblings if you'd like. Are there any questions on all of that? I know some of it might be just having to like get your hands in it to see what you do and don't know, but if there's anything, you know, specifically, I didn't understand that, or where is this, please feel free to throw it in the chat. I'll give it a minute here. So yeah, we will be meeting on Wednesday, and it'll be a little bit more formal then. We'll actually do our lecture. Try and get into Moodle and try and get into mastering chemistry by Wednesday, just so that if there are any issues, you can talk to me in person. If not, we can always talk through email. All right, well, that's all I have for tonight. So have a good couple days. I will see you soon. And I will get this video up probably tomorrow. It usually takes Zoom an hour or two to get the video like processed and ready. So it's like, it was nice to meet you too, Megan. Yeah, it's nice to meet you all. Names are really hard for me, and it's even harder on Zoom, but I'm gonna do my best to try and learn everybody's name. If your name is, if you have a preferred name outside of the one that's on the roster, please email me and let me know so that I can just make sure to honor that as well. And it's nice to meet you all. Bye-bye. If you have any private questions, feel free to stay and we can Zoom one-on-one. Okay, otherwise, enjoy your evening. Bye, guys.
Hey, I have one quick question for you, actually.
Yeah, what's up?
I think I misunderstood you earlier. So we do not need to get the textbook, or we do to do the mastering chemistry?
So if you go to the website, have you bought the text yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so if you go to the Mastering Chemistry website, they give you the option to just buy the access code, which would let you get into the homework. Or they give you the option to buy the access code and buy an online version of the text. Okay. Oh, it looks like someone else said you can rent the text from Amazon for $30 without the access code. Okay, so that's another way to get around it as well. I don't remember the exact prices. And the access code is expensive. It's like, I think it's like $80 or something like that. But the textbook, if you buy it brand new with the access code, is like in the 200s. So it might be better to just get the access code and then rent the text or get.
That's in the store online.
Yeah. Okay. So to find that, go to, I'm gonna share my screen again.
Sorry,
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just want to make sure that you've got it. So when you get to the online homework, just click on this link and this will prompt you to like log in or create a login, and it will like really kind of baby step guide you into getting an access code, and it'll show you what options are available.
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Is it Zori?
Zori. Yeah. Zori on it. Okay. Everyone calls me Zori.
Zori. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You guys have a great night.
Bye. Bye. All right. Hold on one sec. Linnea, I'm gonna put you into the waiting room for a second, and then I'll bring you back in, okay?
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
What if I know that I'm always going to need access to the test a day early? Like I have kids and my mom is only available on Saturdays. Okay. So that would be preferable. Should I just email you like before each test?
Email me when we get close to the first test, and then I'll just go through and give you, I'll give you an extension, or I don't want to call it an extension, like a pre-extension or something like that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right.
I'll give you a 36-hour period on that'll cover all Saturday.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. I will see you on Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye. Hey.
Hey, I got it working. I
How
just
are
had
you?
a quick question for you.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Good. So I was looking at the syllabus earlier and I saw that there were, excuse me, a couple prerequisite courses, which I haven't taken. My advisor is Matthew Fender, and he's never steered me wrong yet, but I just wanted to confirm that I was in high school.
Yeah, I'm sure you're fine. Matthew's awesome.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's what,
This
like
is
a
my first
DRE
chemistry course.
It's a DRE. It's like I think it wants to make sure that you have basic math. Okay, so if you've taken math courses in your whether it was high school or undergrad or whatever, or if your ACT scores show that you did well enough in math, yeah, it's just making sure that you can do the basic math stuff. So you wouldn't even be able to register for the class if you hadn't met those requirements.
That's perfect. I never took chemistry in high school, and that was in the 90s. So that was a while ago, but I definitely took math 171 last semester.
Okay, yeah, you'll be fine.
Perfect.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome. I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, thanks. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Nice meeting you too. Bye.